Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our next guest joining us. TerriePathic, we call her. She's an animal communicator with so much to tell, and we're going to have a great conversation today about animal communication. So welcome. Let me have you first start off by introducing yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here on your show today. My name's Terrie Matz, and I'm the owner of TerriePathic.com. It's Terrie, Pathic, Pathic.com. And yeah, I'm an animal communicator and Reiki master. It's what I love to do, and I'm so happy to be here.
Great. And where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Bradenton, Florida, but my work, because it's all energy, I have clients all over the world. So
beautiful.
It's been quite the journey. Yeah.
Well, we're excited to have you here. I know today we're going to talk a little about awakening your inner animal whisperer, right? So dive into a journey of awakening, we say, and awakening your innate ability to communicate with animals, which we all can, right? And deeply understand their emotions and thoughts. So let's start off by maybe if you could explain to us exactly what animal communication even is.
Sure. So animals, they do communicate with us through body language, and they do understand on a personal level when you have an animal, but they also communicate energetically. So, and what that means is we are all energy, and so are they. And we all have our own vibration. So it's a matter of finding their vibration, and then they use our senses to communicate with us, which they can let us feel what they feel, see what they see, hear what they hear. So it's and they share their thoughts. So it's quite it's an amazing experience, and everybody has the ability to do it.
Amazing. Okay, good. Well, I want to know more about this because let's, if you don't mind, share with us a little bit about your path and what inspired you to become an animal communicator. And let's talk about some of your obstacles that you've had to overcome.
Sure. So I mean, my entire life since I was a little girl, I was always drawn to animals, very sensitive. I didn't understand that I was really an empath. And at the time, I would feel so many emotions from the lowest to the highest all in one day. And nobody could, I didn't have anybody around me that could explain that to me. So I ended up building a wall just to protect myself, because I did understand it. And it wasn't until it was a little bit later in life when I had gotten a Goffin cockatoo. Her name was Daisy. And she was just a little love, and she ended up getting sick. So she ended up in the avian hospital for 30 days, and the vet couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And all I could do is tell her what her symptoms were. And, she was very lethargic. She fell off her perch, and she wasn't eating or drinking. And that was about as much as I could tell him. Well, that could be 1,000 different things.
Yeah.
And being such a little body, they could only take so much blood from her and so many x-rays because she's so little, and the stress that it involves. But every test that they came up with, it was all negative. But every day that I would go visit her in the hospital, I would feel like I had the flu. I had this huge lump in my throat. I just felt awful. But when I would leave the hospital, it would go away. So my logical thinking is, well, maybe it's just the air quality in the building. And it wasn't until at the very end that they figured out what was wrong with her, and she ended up having a rare avian disease. But when she had passed, I had to go back into the hospital a few times. I never felt that way again. And then I started to feel her presence with me, even though she wasn't with me. And I'm like, there's definitely something more to this than I understand or knew about through all of my life experiences. So that's when I actually contacted another animal communicator, and I had no idea they even existed prior to this. So I interviewed a bunch, figured out which one I really resonated with, and she helped me understand everything that I was feeling. It was exactly what Daisy was feeling. And she was sharing that with me in the hospital. And I had no idea that was what was happening. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty incredible. So that's where my journey really started. Was I didn't want any other animal owner to go through the same thing of the frustration, the unknown, the fear of not knowing what's next. Um, it really was the starting point of my journey as an animal communicator.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, it's
TerriePathic.com, by the way, if you're listening, it's TerriePathic. And wow, this is amazing. I've lost pets. I lost my mother 6 years ago, and I'm so on board with you and being intuitive and feeling and knowing, but not everybody, and I don't even know how to turn it on and to really do it. But for an expert like you, this is so fascinating to learn that we all have this innate ability. It's just about having someone help you discover how to use it in a sense, because people don't know, right? You feel something, but people ignore it. People,
yeah.
you accept that, dove into it. So what would you say to someone who feels empathic, that has a connection, and maybe be overwhelmed by these type of emotions?
Yeah, I mean, it does become overwhelming at times, and it's just being able to understand that, one, figuring out, is it something that you feel, or is it something that you're feeling of somebody else's, and understanding where it's coming from. And then saying, okay, if it's mine, I can deal with whatever it is, what happened during the process that emotion came up. Or if it's somebody else's, then you can, with practice of meditation and grounding, you can let go and release of that emotion. But it's also being able to get it out. So explaining what you're feeling, how you're feeling, describing when it happened to the person or animal that you're communicating with, whether you're doing it intuitively or energetically, or if you're talking to somebody face to face. It's being receptive of whose energy it is, and cutting it off when it needs to be cut off, so that you can control how you feel.
Oh my goodness. Wow, this is fascinating. Wow. Okay. So if someone's feeling these emotions, we can also go to one of your classes, maybe, right? Because you have different classes. Could you talk a little about this? How it could help
Sure.
someone?
Yeah, absolutely. As I did animal communication and Reiki, my clients ended up coming to me and asking me to start teaching. So I started animal communication level 1 and 2. And what is different about my classes is they are multiple weeks long. So my level 1 is 5 weeks, my level 2 is 6 weeks, and we get together once a week, and we actually practice live case studies. And it's so important to hear, like the attendees or my students hear what other people's blocks are. So even though they might not be experiencing them, they get to learn what to do to unblock or to work around being able to communicate through those obstacles that happen. The other thing that I've noticed too is with my animal communication, I give everybody a Reiki treatment, because it's so important to be grounded and to be clear yourself in order to hear others. So that sets my classes apart also. We also have a community that I've created after my classes are completed, that we still get together on the first Wednesday and third Wednesday of the month. It's called my alumni class, and we still practice together. They might not be doing it professionally, but they are honing in their experiences and their skills, so that they can communicate with their own animals. So when an emergency does happen, that they're able to key into them.
Oh my
It's pretty
goodness.
amazing.
It is. This is amazing. Wow. Okay. So hold on. So, when you're right now, right? We're talking to Terrie. Someone contacts you to work with them as an intuitive to help develop the skill. But at the same time, people come to you to also help find their pet and channel their pet, right? So How does
Absolutely.
how does that work? Like, so what do you have to what does the person have to tell you about the pet? What are the things you need? Because some people might say, well, if I told her everything, then she knows, or she Googled it, or like, how does it?
Yeah. No,
There are
I,
skeptics out there, right? Let's be honest.
there are. Less is more, believe it or not, for me anyway. So all I need is a picture of the animal, as long as the eyes are looking into the picture. And then just give me your questions
Wait,
that you have.
wait, look at my screensaver. That's
Ah,
Cuddles. It's hard to see, but Cuddles.
Cuddles. Oh, it went off. There we go.
Cuddles, my little boy, he passed away in September, and I have a 6 and 8 year old. But go figure, my cat's my screensaver. I love my boys, don't get me wrong, but the Cuddles is my other boy. And someone like, you get attached to your pet over the years and you love them more than anything. And it's like you want to know they're okay. And so
Right.
someone like that, I mean, you're not able to see from a picture. I have to physically send it to you, right? So you could see the eyes, you could see what you're feeling, or does anything come across just by you looking through the screen? Just curious.
Yeah, it's really
Too
tough.
hard to see. Yeah, look at there's
Yeah,
my boy.
send it to me and we'll do an animal
Oh,
communication together.
okay, thank you. We could do that for
Yeah.
our next podcast. I know we have more scheduled, so
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. And send me your questions and we'll get it taken care of.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, we want to remind you TerriePathic is here also on YouTube as well, right? We can find you. And do you have any social media pages as well?
I do have a Facebook and Instagram
Mm-hmm.
on TerriePathic.
Okay.
So yeah,
And the other thing, you're also a Reiki master, you said?
I am a Reiki master. A lot of times, and what happens is when I have an animal communication with an animal that had a extremely hard life or experience trauma, a shelter dog that's been bounced around, or a puppy mill situation. A lot of times you communicate and they tell you what they're holding on to, but the Reiki, just like humans, we have the 7 main chakras in our body. Animals have the same thing. So your mind holds on to situations, but so does your body. And those particular, depending on the circumstance, will hold on to a chakra. Reiki clears that out so that they're able to process and heal from their previous experiences. It's pretty incredible to see the transformation that happens in an animal, because it's not just their thinking, it's their body is also going through the memory of the experience. So by releasing that, your body is able to naturally heal and have the energy flow properly and not be having to go around a block.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
which can actually cause other behavioral issues and health issues down the road if it's not taken care of. So
Wow, wow, wow. Well, animal Reiki. Let's talk about what it is. People might say, what does that mean? How could that help my pet?
yeah, absolutely. So Reiki itself is a Japanese healing art that allows our body to properly or naturally have the energy flow to heal itself. And when we go through stress, whether it's a move, whether it's family has changed, we have a stressful, like fireworks, for instance. We just had 4th of July, and there's many animals that go through an experience that gives them anxiety and stress. So those are the things that our body holds onto and memorizes, and Reiki can allow the block. Each chakra is a ball of energy. So it's important that those balls of energy continue to flow. And when they get blocked, they stop or they slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that those things get cleared out so your body can process naturally. Even surgeries, prior to surgery can help with the anxiety. After surgery can help in the healing as far as taking away the inflammation. Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Can we share some stories more about your clients that you've worked with animal Reiki? Please. Would love to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So on animal Reiki, I mean, I just had there's a couple of them actually. I just had a puppy that I call a puppy, but she was a little older. She was 4 years old, but they had just gotten a newborn. They just had a baby brought home from the hospital, and she ended up getting jealous over the newborn. So she was going to the bathroom in different areas of the home that was unwanted. So when I talked to the dog, she had expressed how jealous she was in having the newborn for the attention. And I had to explain to her, because they don't always remember that they were a baby once too. So I explained to her that she needed to remember that the baby is to her mommy the way she was to her puppy mommy. And she was nurtured, she was nursed, she was cared for until she was independent enough to go play, or went home with her new human mommy, and she got it, she understood it. And then the Reiki part of it just released the jealousy that was in her heart chakra so that it wouldn't come back. So she was able to process everything. I just followed up with her, and they haven't had any issues with her going to the bathroom since. So there's different circumstances like that. I also had another animal that I just did where it was an older kitty, and they thought that it was end of life. She was 17 years old. But when I talked to the kitty, she wasn't actually ready to cross over. She gave me some discomfort in the abdominal area, and that she told me that she needed additional help to take care of it, but she wasn't ready to cross over. And so I told the animal owner to go to see her vet to get further diagnosed in the abdominal, and she ended up having like a little blockage, and she's fine to this day. So that was just the other day too. So she's recovering. So there are times where even when a vet isn't involved right away, it can lead to a veterinarian visit just so that they're taken care of properly. So it's not in lieu of veterinarian care. We don't diagnose or things like that, but we can tell you what they're thinking and feeling so that you can give a more direct answer to your veterinarian when they're asking what kind of things are going on with your animal.
This is awesome. I mean, like, so people come to you and say, like, my pet, for example, is in pain, right? Like I did this before too with my cat, and there was nothing wrong with the vet says no. And then, then I find out there's people like you out there that can help communicate and say, well, I think it's like, it's amazing you can sense that from the animal.
Yeah, it's connecting, and it goes back to them using your body energetically. So you're able to feel what they feel and pinpoint more of a direct area so that the veterinarian becomes laser focused rather than, okay, well, they're not doing this, but they are doing this, and you don't know in between what's really going on with their body. I just had another cat too that they started to eat their kitty litter, and then she wasn't going to the kitty litter, and she wasn't using her litter box, but I keyed in and they immediately said there's something missing in my diet. So she ended up going back to the veterinarian because they thought it was just a behavioral issue. And they couldn't find anything either until I told them specifically that they were eating the kitty litter, because she didn't even know that they were eating the kitty litter. And it was a mineral deficiency. So they fixed her diet and she went back to normal. She went back to using her kitty litter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's certain circumstances that even horses, I've did many, I communicated with many horses where the one, she always had to sedate her horse in order to give her warm medicine. She just wouldn't take it, and she ended up not wanting to give it to her, and her other dog or her other horse had passed because of having worms. So she knew the importance of it. So she contacted me, and I told her that the horse told me to put it in peanut butter, and he'll take the medicine without being sedated. And you wonder where they get this information, because she says, I've never given him peanut butter. I said, well, I don't know. That's all I can tell you is what he said. So she tried it, and he did. He took to this day, he does not have to be sedated to take his medicine. So even if it's just not a health related issue, but it's just, things have to be done. You can figure out what the horse wants and needs in order for it to happen, so that it's an easier transition for whatever needs to be done. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, we still got 5 minutes left in the show. I'm glad that we're able to extend it because I know we were a little late before. What else do you want people to know about you and the process? By the way, do you have any pets yourself?
I do. I have a German Shepherd. Her name's Kira. And I have a Sheltie. Her name's Abigail. And I also have another parrot now. Her name is Lily, which is, she had reincarnated from Daisy and came back to me. So that'll be another topic of conversation as far as being able to be reunited with your animal when they want to come back and be with you. So yeah, I love animals. I dedicate myself to them. I've learned through the process that there's a bond beyond just love. It's a soul bond. And when an animal is in your life, they're there to teach you, and they're there to learn too. They have a spiritual journey just like we do. And when our spiritual journeys match, the time that there is spent together is amazing and is beyond any words can describe. And when you miss your animal, when it's that level, you miss them on a soul level. And when you can communicate with them even after, because they're energy, they're lights. So you're able to communicate with them even after they've crossed over the bridge. So.
Can I ask what happens? Okay. Do you believe in like reincarnation? Is there a point where you can't connect to them anymore? Can you tell if they reincarnated? Will the animal still have the same soul, but be on Earth somewhere else in a different animal body? And does it go into the same animal body, or could it transfer into a different animal, from like a cat to a dog to a cat to a bird? All these questions.
So when I first started animal communication, that was the area that was unknown for me until I've actually done so many to understand what exactly has happened. So when they cross over, they do have the option of coming back or not coming back. And if they do come back, they have the option of whether they want to go back to a previous owner or if they want a new family. They also have the option of changing bodies. So if they were a dog one time, they can be a cat another, or a bird, or they have that option. And a lot of times, from my experience, what I've noticed was that if they want to come back to the previous owner, they want to be something that they know that their previous owner loves. So whether it's a large dog, small dog, cat, but they also, if they've had any kind of limitations in that body from before, and they've seen another animal that didn't have that limitation, sometimes they will change to a different breed so that they can run faster, or maybe be larger because they want to see what's on top of a table and they were little before. So there's different reasons for them to come back differently. But and as far as communicating, if they do go into another body, they still will answer the questions as if they were like cuddles.
Yeah.
So if he is still if he is in another body, he will answer the questions as if he was when he was cuddles during that time period.
Oh.
I don't if he is in another body in another family, there is an etiquette that happens in animal communication where I won't invade the privacy of that family. But yeah, any time period that he was yours would definitely can be asked.
Amazing. Terrie, this is amazing work you do. We have to remind everyone how we could reach out to you. I know it's TerriePathic.com, TerriePathic. Do you want to share a phone number, a social media page, anything else before we go today?
You can contact me through my website, or you can email me through TerriePathic@gmail.com. And I'd love to work with you and see if we are a match.
Perfect. And I see you're on Instagram, Facebook as well.
Yes.
And you're based out of, it's Allentown, Pennsylvania?
Bradenton, Florida.
Oh, okay. Because I went to your Instagram page and it says Allentown.
I changed that.
Did you move? Okay.
I did.
No, I'm just psychic, and I knew you used to live it. I saw it on your Instagram page. Okay, I thought you said Florida before. All right, well, thank you so much. Pleasure having you here, and looking forward to the next time we get to connect. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. We'll talk soon. Have a great day. To all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.